Connected with this guy, it's like we've known each other for a long time. So it became a natural relationship right off the bat, and I think God did that. It wasn't anything else. And I just wanted to share a little bit about it because he asked me to. So I don't do this all the time, but when people ask me to, it's an honor to share a little bit of where I come from and what I'm about, right? So can I get everybody's attention? If not, y'all can get out. Straight up, I'm not trying to disrespect nobody, but like this is meaningful. This is who I am, and this is what made me me. And I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed to say that I get to dance and travel around the world for a living. Because when I first started dancing, no one supported what I did. No one, not even my parents, especially my dad. My mom was probably the only person that was probably just letting me do it because it was just something I loved. Did she support it? No. She was always worried about me, what I was doing. She always thought it was something negative. But honestly, if I didn't come to dancing, I would be doing a lot of other stuff because I was already involved, with my older brothers who were selling drugs and involved in gang activity and doing some crazy things around the neighborhood and where I come from. So I was involved in that. At 10, 11 years old, I was like moving guns for my brothers and stuff like that. It's pretty bad, And I come from a really solid home with both of my parents being there and, raised in church. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be the greatest kid or the greatest teenager. But when I found dancing, when I started dancing, it was just something different. I mean, the passion and the feeling behind it was just completely new. When I started dancing, it was almost a redirection of what was supposed to happen in my life. Because when I started dancing, it automatically like a snap of a finger, just took me away from all this negative activity that I was, growing up with. And I know it sounds so weird, but it's so true. It's so true. And I don't think that it was necessarily the dancing, but I think God had a lot to do with it. God has the bigger purpose here and has the bigger plan, and he's the one that brought me dancing because dancing is a tool. When we dance out here, it's just a tool. We get to entertain people, we get to have fun, we get to, battle each other, and at the end of the day, it's all good. It's all good. We always show respect to one another. So, dancing is not a negative thing. So me growing up, and finding dancing was actually probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Because like I said, I was raised in church, but I didn't go to church all the time. My parents were evangelists. They were traveling everywhere preaching. So I'm a preacher's kid, pretty much, And it's just crazy because I didn't want anything to do with that. But when I found dancing, my wife today, I'm 29 years old today, but my wife today, her dad saw me at a youth center practicing, and he said, hey, you guys should come to my church. This is my wife's dad. This is, 17 years ago. Then he comes up to me and he says, hey, you guys should come to my church. We got a good floor. You guys can practice and all this stuff. And I said, you got a floor? I'm there. Let's go. I didn't have a practice spot. I was pushing my mom's furniture aside. That's why I was getting yelled at all the time. So, that was, he was just trying to get me to church, and so I went. And at first I was just going to practice. I knew, I already heard everything that the preachers have preached. Or at least I thought I did, and so it was almost like the same cycle for me. Or I was let it become the same cycle. So I would go, I would go to practice, and after a while, I just got plugged in. I just got plugged into church, and it wasn't even about dancing no more. I just started learning. I started growing my relationship with God, and I started doing all this. And I'm trying to cut this short because this can go for a very long time. And then by the time I was I started dancing around 11, 12 years old. By the time I was 13 to 14 years old is when I really started going to church again. At this time, like I said, I was raised in a home, both of my parents were preaching together. My parents split up. My dad didn't want to have nothing to do with my mom. He bounced. He left for probably about 7 to 10 years. Probably when I needed him the most, and he wasn't there. And I grew up really, really fast. So I knew that I had to pour everything that I had into this. This was my positive alternative. It it wasn't just something that I loved to do, but it was also therapy. It was also something that kept me away from a lot of things. It controlled situations in my life. It controlled, so many things. There's a lot of variables that factor into, what's going on in my life at that very moment. But during all this, it didn't stop me from wanting to be who I was as a dancer and as a person that goes to school. I was an honor roll student all the way through graduation. Regardless of my struggles and everything that I've been through, I was an honor roll student. I trained every single day. I did not make one excuse. If I didn't have a practice spot, I found one. If I didn't find one, I made one. And you guys are so blessed now that you guys have a studio, and great people that run it, events that happen all the time. I know we're in a small city in Canada right now, but there's no reason why this event should still be packed and still be full. And I know he probably has about 150 students, but there should be no reason why he has 500 students. The work that they're doing is great. It's the work that I needed as a kid and it wasn't there, right? So we need people like Aaron and Kendra to come in and interfere with what's already going on. When I say the word interfere, because that needs to happen. That's a powerful word, is that sometimes we need people to interfere and correct us and help us and guide us and direct us. We need that. And so growing up, I didn't have a lot of that. But I knew, like I said, my mentality was right. My dad was gone. It was just me and my mom. My brothers were married. They were out the house. My mom had to pay her house note. I started getting offers to travel around the world. Any money that was made, I was giving it to my mom. As long as I kept something for me to eat throughout the week, I was cool with that. Because that's all I knew. A lot of people don't know this, but this is the truth. I don't share this a lot. But when I'm asked to, I will. And so, that was a very tough time for me, growing up with just my mom when I needed my dad the most. But it didn't stop me from, like I said, it didn't stop me from being who I wanted to be. Because in my mind, it's like, I knew I wanted to be successful. I knew I wanted to have a family. I knew I wanted to travel around the world. I knew I wanted to inspire youth. I knew I wanted to just keep dancing and dancing because that's what made me happy, And like I said, I was getting all these offers to travel around the world, and I did that. I'm still doing that. Thank God for it. But at the end of the day, it's like when God says no, I'm done. I'm okay with that, because I'm just here to just do what I feel like I'm called to do, right? If you guys ever see me battle, you see me get raw, that's just my b-boy side of what I do. And that happens to everybody. But I can control that. We got to learn to control what's happening in our lives. We're so focused on the things we don't have, we need to stop focusing on the things we don't have and focus on the things we do have. Because there's a lot of things that you have that a lot of other people don't. There's a lot of things that I have that a lot of people don't. But at the end of the day, it's like we're still going out to do what we love. We're going out to do what we love. And when you love something so much, you're going to do anything that it takes, in your will to fight for that. I fought for what I love. I fought for my mom. I fought for my relationship with God. I fought for my passion in dancing. And I'm here. I always wanted to, like I said, I always wanted to inspire youth and, do lots of youth ministry or work. Well, in August of 2011, I opened up my very own community center called Break Free Community Center. And we get to work with youth all week long, all year. We're going on 2 years now, and it's been, we've had our struggles, but for me, it's successful still. It's successful because, when you start a business, it's like, you never want it to be where you think it can be, right? Because you always want it to grow, So, obviously I want that, but when I see kids getting down and just having a good, positive atmosphere to build off, and then seeing parents come out and support that, man, that's amazing. Because some of us didn't have that, including me. So when your parent puts you in a class, or your parent is here to support you battle, that's like beautiful to watch. I mean, you guys are very, very blessed to have that, In 2006, I got married to my wife, Roxanne, who, I'm telling you, her dad was one of the first persons I met who introduced me to church. 2006, I got married. Been married since 2006. Learning a lot. God is good. I just, everyone has their struggles. Everyone has their fights. No one is perfect. But we're here to do what God has called us to do, and we're just here to just have fun and build with everybody. And like I said, my story goes on and on. I'm just kind of chopping it up because I know we got a battle, but my wife is just an amazing person. She's the backbone of everything that I do. When I'm not here, she's watching my kids. I mean, sometimes I don't even want to be home to watch my kids because it's so hard. It's so hard, As much as I miss my kids right now, I know she's taking care of them. So I may be out of town and doing all this work and doing all this, but she's doing more work than I am, So when your parents are helping you and are guiding you through something, and I know sometimes as kids we kind of just let that run over our heads, but we have to have a lot of respect for our moms and our dads, regardless of, whatever you think, right? Because we just always have to respect our parents. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. In 2004, I'm telling you, my dad left probably like around 99 like 99. But in 2004, my mom was always just telling me, I've been praying for your dad, he's gonna come back, And I said, okay. But for me, I just didn't want to hear nothing about my dad. I just didn't. I mean, I had this hate towards him, because he wasn't there. But I always believed that my parents would always come back together because that's not God's plan. So God's plan is for them to be together. And so my dad's back. I mean, it took years and years and years. He came up to me, and it wasn't until recently, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, he came up to me and said, I'm sorry, I never supported what you do, who you are. I feel like God has placed that conviction in my heart to tell you that. You're so talented. You get to use this to talk to other kids and travel around the world. None of us have ever done that in my family. And that's just a gift from God. And I'm just, he was telling me he's sorry and all this stuff. And I mean, that just touched my heart, because that's what I needed to hear. And that was just a whole new boost of inspiration. And so, I'm just happy to just still be here to do what I do. My parents are back together. I got my wife. I got 2 beautiful babies at home. I'm 29 years old. I feel better now than I did when I was 17 years old because I'm training right, I'm eating right. I'm just trying to find everything that I do to keep me relevant and consistent in this dance. And I just want to encourage everybody here. Every time you have an event or anytime you have people that are supporting your culture or your community, please support them because that's not something that's very easy to do. Even when the kids come up, I know Aaron was saying this over and over, but even when the kids come up and they dance, that's tough to do. I remember as a kid, I was so shy. I didn't want to do nothing because I didn't want to be made fun of. I didn't want to look dumb in front of my friends. But that's why like now with Break Free, I promote the t-shirts back there that say create your escape. I didn't have nothing else, so I had to create my escape, and I created it. And that, like I said, it's like if I had to create a floor, I created a floor. If I had to create moves, I created moves. If I had to create a ministry, I created a ministry. Everything's an escape, but you have to be creative. If you're not being creative enough, then you're gonna decline growth in everything that you want for yourself. Challenge your creativity. Challenge everything that you have. Don't get content where you're at because it's not about being happy with where we're at. There's always room for growth in everything we do, and especially in this dance evolves every single day. There's people making the moves right now. And that's the beauty of this dance. We're just here to give you a foundation. You build with that, And like I said, it's a blessing to be here and just share a little bit about where I come from and what I'm about. But at the end of the day, we're all here doing what we love to do. And so let's be more hyped up about it. Let's be more hyped up about it. Let's have fun. If you lose, you lose. Oh well, I've learned the hard way. I've cried and complained so many times. For real. But at the end of the day, I'm still dancing. So even if you lose a competition, yeah, it hurts, because you train so hard for it, but just go home and practice more. I know it sounds so cliche, but that's what you gotta do. You just gotta go home and practice more and dance and keep dancing, keep learning, and keep asking questions and keep getting part of a church or a studio that wants to support you and support your skills and, just do what you do. Let's B-boys, B-girls, Yo, the biggest complaints that we have as B-boys and B-girls is we always complain about the floor, we always complain about the DJ, and we always complain about the judges. Straight up. If you don't like being judged, don't enter a competition. If you know who's DJing and you don't like him, don't go to the jam. If you know where the jam is going to be held and you don't like the floor, just don't go. Go to the next one. Just find solutions to everything you do. There's solutions, guys. But if we continue to complain about everything, it does nothing. You just become a problem in the community. It's not helping the community. So just find solutions and just build off that. And I just want to thank you guys for, me being out here, because it's a blessing to be here, but just to share this is also awesome. So thank you guys.